Imagine serving 10 years in prison, being released, and then embarking on a killing spree that shocks the nation. This is the horrifying reality of Nikko Jenkins. A man born in 1986, Jenkins's life took a chilling turn after his release from prison in August 2013. Claiming to be under orders from the ancient serpent god Apophis, he embarked on a ruthless journey of destruction. Within a month of his release, 4 people had lost their lives to Jenkins' frenzied brutality. Born in 1986, Jenkins's life was marred by crime from an early age. Raised in a family where illegal activities were the norm rather than the exception, Jenkins was no stranger to the clutches of the law. His mother, a convicted felon, and his father, a career criminal, set the stage for a life entangled in the judicial system. A mere adolescent, Jenkins was already making a name for himself in the underworld, his youthful bravado landing him in a juvenile detention center. This was merely the beginning of a long and tumultuous relationship with the law. His crimes escalated in severity, and at the age of 17, Jenkins was sentenced to a decade in prison for armed robbery. These formative years were spent not in classrooms or on college campuses, but behind cold steel bars, a breeding ground for hardened criminals. The prison system, instead of reforming him, further fueled his criminal tendencies. After 10 years behind bars, Jenkins was released, a decision that would cost 4 people their lives. In August 2013, Omaha, Nebraska, became the hunting ground for this released convict. Nikko Jenkins, fresh from behind bars, embarked on a spree of terror that would leave the city in shock. Victims were not chosen at random. Rather, they were selected according to a chilling logic that only Jenkins himself truly understood. There was Juan Uribe Peña and Jorge C. Cajiga Ruiz, 2 friends simply enjoying a night out, unaware that they would never see the light of day again. Their lives were extinguished by Jenkins, who saw them not as people, but as offerings to his dark deity, Apophis. Next, Curtis Bradford, a man who once shared a cell with Jenkins. Former accomplice turned sacrifice, his life was cut short in the most brutal of ways, showed no mercy, his connection to Bradford seemingly irrelevant in the face of his twisted beliefs. There was Andrea Kruger. Mother of 3, her life was tragically ended at the hands of Jenkins. Death marked the end of Jenkins' terrifying spree, but the horror of his actions would linger, casting a shadow over Omaha. Jenkins claimed these murders were sacrifices, offerings to the ancient serpent god Apophis. His actions were driven not by reason, but by a dark, misguided faith that rationalized his horrifying deeds. Weeks, Jenkins was back behind bars, this time facing charges that would see him sentenced to death. Convicted of 4 murders, Jenkins was sentenced to death in May 2017. The gavel fell, the sentence was pronounced, and the courtroom breathed a collective sigh of relief. But for the families of Juan Uribe Peña, Jorge C. Cajiga Ruiz, Curtis Bradford, and Andrea Kruger, the pain was far from over. Their lives were forever altered by a man who claimed to be driven by an ancient serpent god, Apophis. In the wake of these senseless acts, a city mourned. Omaha, Nebraska, thrust into the national spotlight, grappled with the aftermath of a killing spree that had left an indelible mark on its community. The streets that once echoed with the laughter of children and the hum of daily life now bore the invisible scars of a predator's path. But it was not just the physical landscape that was altered. The emotional and psychological toll on the community was profound. Jenkins's reign of terror did not end with his arrest. Behind the walls of his prison cell, he exhibited self-harming behavior, a stark reminder of the depth of his instability. This prompted increased security measures, a constant vigilance to contain a man seemingly at war with himself as much as with the world. The families of his victims continue to wrestle with their loss, their grief magnified by the public nature of their tragedy. They stand as a testament to resilience in the face of unthinkable horror, their stories a chilling reminder of the cost of Jenkins's violent rampage. The end, the story of Nikko Jenkins, is one of a community forever changed, of lives cut tragically short, and of a man whose actions have left a legacy of pain and fear. Himself remains a haunting figure in Omaha's history, a man who brought nightmares to life and left a city grappling with the aftermath. Nikko Jenkins, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul, remains on death row, leaving behind a trail of pain and loss that continues to haunt Omaha.